Hello lovelies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today, the previous video talked about being pregnant in Europe, Austria. Today I'm going to talk about my labor and delivery stories for my two children. As I said before, these are going to be two parts, part one for my daughter, part two for my son. So, start with my daughter. It was actually a week, about 2 months before I started experiencing, they say they're called Braxton kicks. So these Braxton kicks, at first I was like, because I was a first time mother, I didn't know what they were. So I was like a bit nervous and I thought, oh. But then, as a first time mother, my husband rushed me to the hospital, but then we were told, nah, yeah, those are just Braxton kicks. So, and these were about, I think, about around 30 weeks or so. Yeah, around 30 weeks. So we came home and they stayed only, I think, 2 days. I had these Braxton Hicks and then they were okay. And then when I reached 32 weeks, then it was in the middle of the night we were sleeping. I started feeling a bit of pain. So I thought in my mind, yeah, this again at the Braxton kick. So I brushed it off. So I suffered through the night. Then in the morning, my husband woke up, went to work as usual. So I stayed at home alone. I didn't tell my husband the whole day. I said nothing to him. But then it reached, he usually comes home at 4 o'clock in the afternoon after work. So when he came home, I tried to hide the fact from him that the pain was really getting worse. So I thought, yeah, I'm not going to tell him again. So, and then we slept. And then it reached about 11 or midnight. I'm telling you, the pain was so unbearable. I was crying in the middle of the sleep. In fact, even it's me crying and crying, that woke my husband up. So he woke up and asked what's wrong. And then I told him I've been having this contraction. Then I told him I don't think this time they are Braxton Hicks. I think it's the real deal right now. Mind you, this was only at about 32 weeks. They say the baby is already viable, but I wanted to go full term. So we packed a few things and then we rushed to the hospital. That was, we got to the hospital around 1:30 in the morning. So we got there, we checked in, and we checked with the nurse who was on duty at night, and then we were taken direct to the labor and delivery department. Then the doctor on call came and checked, and he said, yeah, you're having, this time they're not Braxton Hicks, they're real contractions, because it was painful. So, but he said it will be better if the baby if I continued carrying my daughter to full term. So, yeah, and then I said, okay, what are we going to do about it? Then he told me that they're going to give me some medication to try and reduce the contraction, because they checked me and they found by this time I was almost dry, 3 centimeters dilated, and my daughter's head was really pushing towards, it trying to come out. But they were saying they will try their best so that they can stop the contractions completely, so that I may go to full term. So that's what we did. I ended up staying in the hospital for almost 1 week, because they didn't want to pump with medicine, too strong medicines. They had to do it step by step. So I was on medicine in IV form, and it really helped a big deal. So after a week in the hospital, the contraction stopped, the cervix stopped dilating, and I was discharged and I went home. So, yeah, and then that went on that way. Thank God this time I didn't have any more false contraction, or rather real contraction. They didn't come anymore. And then came I think I gave birth at exactly 40 weeks, exactly. So came the day I gave birth to my daughter. It was Friday. These such things always happen when my husband has to go to work during the week. So it was a Friday. I remember very well, it was a Friday. And this time around, I didn't tell my husband. These contractions started again from Thursday through the night to Friday. But this time I didn't tell my husband, because I thought, yeah, Braxton Hicks, so failed contractions. So this time around, I said I'm not going to tell him, because let me try and pull through until Saturday if it's going to work. So I stayed at home, and then the morning, just half an hour before my husband left for work, my mucus plug broke. And that's what I thought, okay, there, I have to say him, I have to tell him. So I told my husband, I think my mucus plug broke. And then he told, because I had already, after this contraction scare, I had already packed my hospital bag, everything I'm going to need and everything my daughter is going to need. So, and yeah, but I didn't pack much because here at the hospital you get diapers for the stay you're going to get to, for the time you're going to stay in the hospital, you get diapers and you get baby clothes. So you actually, the only thing you need to carry is the clothes to carry your baby with home. So that aside. So I told my husband, oh, I think this time it's the real deal. So it took my hospital bag and then went to the car and went. We go to the hospital. The hospital from where I stay to the hospital is almost 20 minutes, so it's not that far. But by this time, at the contractions were starting to get stronger and stronger. They were about, I would say, I think 10 minutes apart. So we went to the hospital, we checked in, the hospital were registered. We checked in and yeah, they put the monitor to check the baby's heart and check if the baby is in distress or not. So yeah, they checked me. We arrived at the hospital at about, I think, 10 in the morning. So we checked in, did all the stuff, blah, blah, blah. I put the hospital gown on and yeah, we were waiting. We waited, and then the contractions started coming in regularly. They started coming in 3 minutes apart. And this time, I'm telling you, I was feeling like this pain, it's a pain you cannot describe. You feel pain all over the body, from the head to the stomach, the back, the legs. I'm telling you, this is a pain that you cannot describe to anybody. And to those mothers who go natural, hats off for you, because I tried. So I said I'm going to go natural and waited. So, but then the pain started coming. And then by the time I was getting contractions about 1 minute apart, I'm telling you, they were coming in so strong. They were so strong until I was getting nauseated. I was getting a headache. I was getting lightheaded. It was really bad. So by this time, it was around 5 in the evening. 5 or 6. No, I would say 6 in the evening. The contractions were after every minute they come, and they were coming strong. They were this pain. It was so much pain, and my husband sitting next to me, I was just yelling at him, telling him to just get out and leave my poor husband. I yelled at him, I'm telling you, and he's just sitting there because he doesn't know what to do. He can't help with the pain, he can't help with nothing. So I yelled at him, screamed, pushed, squeezed his hand. He had to take off his ring because I was squeezing so hard. He was hurting his ring, so he had to take off his ring. So that's the time I said, enough is enough. I want the epidural. Give me the epidural. Just give it to me, the epidural. And I was crying. I'm telling you, I was crying. So they had to call the, and how are they called? How are they called in English? I've forgotten. They had to call him to come and put the epidural in me. And now here's the tricky part with the epidural. The epidural, you're not supposed to move any inch. One false move and the needle goes in the false place, you can be paralyzed. So whether you have, and he's telling you, concentrate, whether you have contractions or not, do not move. If the contraction comes and placing the needle in, try as much as you can to stay still. So that's what I did. So you have to go in a fetal position. You put your legs up that they are on 90 degrees. So, and then you go in a fetal position. You have to bend your back like a C. You have to bend your back like this because that's where the needle comes here. They look for a point, that's where they come. You can feel it even pitching. So it's such a long needle. It comes here, then they push it in. So I went to fetal position and he put the epidural in. And he said, yeah, you have to wait about half an hour and then it's going to be in full course. It's going to, be full. Fully inside. So I waited at about half an hour, then the relief I felt when the epidural started working. But oh my God, that's the best feeling after the pain, and the epidural was the best feeling ever. So it started working, and I was just sitting there. So the only thing left was monitoring the baby's heart to see if my daughter was in distress or not. Thank God my daughter was not in distress. So and then they were coming to check in. Oh, I forgot. Before the contraction started getting stronger, my doctor came in and said, because it's almost time, I'm almost fully dilated. yeah, they have to break my water to see if the baby pooped in my stomach, and that would be a call for cesarean. So he warned me, said once I break the water, that's it. The pain are going to come stronger than before. So he broke my water, and then after 10 minutes is when this 1 minute contraction started. I'm telling you, so forget about it. So after the epidural started working, yeah, the only thing left was for them to come, and they were checking my cervix to see how dilated I was. And then when they came to check in at around because my daughter was born at 20:02. That's 8 o'clock, 2 minutes after 8 in the night. So at around, I only pushed for 5 minutes. 5 minutes. So at around 8:45 there, I was fully dilated, but I was not feeling it yet. So they told me if you feel like you have to, that's a sign that it's time to push. So they came, they checked, I was fully dilated, and then they said, okay, it's time, Yvonne. So by this time, yeah, then they said you have to start pushing, and then I was pushing. Then yeah, they told me to count. They were counting like you push 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Then take a breath again and then push again. But you have to push that. Not you have to push. It's they tell you how to push so that you don't get a tear. So I pushed. I only gave, I think, 3 pushes, and this is after 5 minutes. My daughter was born. That's the best feeling ever. That's the best feeling when you see your little baby. And then after giving birth, they put your baby on a chest for bonding. I'm telling you, that's the best feeling ever. Holding your little tiny baby in the hands and just thanking God that everything went well. So after that, then you're told to give one last push so that you can give birth to the placenta. So you give one last push, and then the placenta is out. And unfortunately, I had a tear. I tore pretty well, and they had to be given almost 10 stitches. And then after that, now after the epidural wore off, is when I started feeling the pain. I'm telling you, sitting was a problem, standing was a problem, walking was a problem. So, and and after giving birth, they have to come and check you frequently to see if you're bleeding too much. They have to check you so that if you're bleeding too much, then you have hemorrhage, and they have to act really quickly. So that night, the nurse in charge came to check me, and I was bleeding normally, so it was not cause for concern. And after giving birth, you can leave the hospital immediately, but they advise you to stay in the hospital for at least 3 days so that they can monitor you and the baby, because in case of anything, they are there. So yeah, I was saying the pain I was feeling after giving birth, sitting, peeing, I'm telling you, wow, that was the worst feeling ever. And then came the worst of the worst, when you have to. I sat in the toilet this time. I just sat and just prayed, but then they said the fast is the heaviest, or rather is the most difficult. So I was like, oh my God, I cried. By the time I finished, I had cried and cried and cried in that bathroom. But then really, they were right. After that, when they had to go for long calls afterwards, it was not as much painful. So we stayed in the hospital for 3 days, and then we came home. So coming home, you have to have your midwife. She has to come and check the baby and tell you how to do and check the baby's Nabelschnur. The baby's Nabelschnur. Cord, umbilical cord. What it's called. So they have to check it so that they see it breaks nicely. Then they show you how to clean the baby. Then they check the baby's weight. They measure the baby's head. And yeah, so then my problem was that I had really hard time breastfeeding my daughter, my poor daughter. So, and I had cracked nipples. My baby was not latching well. So I'm telling you, it was horror. It was painful. Now the pain started again. So, but I said anything for my girl. So I used to breastfeed her through the pain, and unfortunately, the midwife found out that my baby was not getting enough milk from me, so we had to give my baby bottle, sadly. But you do you. If you prefer giving your baby the bottle, that's fine. If you prefer breastfeeding, that's fine. But for me, I really wanted to fully breastfeed, but I couldn't because due to the pain, and it sent a signal to my brain that every time it came time for breastfeeding, I was really dreading it because I couldn't handle the pain. So suggested that I start giving my baby the bottle, and that's what I did. But then after a month or so, my baby was latching okay, so I stopped giving the bottle, and that's the story and labor and delivery of my baby girls. I hope you watched till the end, and thank you so much for your support, and I'll see you guys later.